Hello everyone and welcome back to some more Warhammer Warcry for the channel, and today inside one of the Nighthaunts spooky tombs they are defending it against the Iron Golems, but the Iron Golems have brought some big backup. So big in fact they might struggle to navigate the particularly tight doorways and halls of this tomb, catacomb, whatever, but nevertheless we're going to see how he does today. And with that said, let's go take a look at the specifics for both sides. So here is the Nighthaunt force for today, broken into 222 for dagger, hammer, shield from camera left to camera right. So we have a Tomb Banshee and a Spirit Host. We have the Knight of Shrouds, which is the leader, and a Spirit Host. And then finally we have a Grimghast Reaper, who looks like he's about to try and hit his boss currently, with a third and final Spirit Host. So 2, and 2 as I say, and the Spirit Host, we've only had one on the table prior, which was a while ago now. With a triple, they can put out an insane amount of damage. And getting that triple, though, is obviously the tricky part. But if they have it, every one of their hits that they successfully land counts as a crit, which is really, really scary. Which makes sense, because they're ghosts. And here are the Iron Golems, again broken into dagger, hammer, shield, 2, and 2. And they have brought a very large bit of backup today in the form of the Centurion Marshal at the back there, taking up just shy of 300 renown on his own, so that's a third of the cost of the force basically. But the Dominar is leading again with the Signifier, the dagger, the hammer is the Centurion Marshal and the Ogre Breacher, and then the shield is just an Iron Legionnaire with the shield and normal weapon setup and the little crazy dwarven armator. So we'll see how they do as they come down into the tombs for whatever it is they're doing down here. This is an alternative map that uses the catacombs rules. There's pits, there's bridges that can break if you end your movement on them, that kind of stuff. But we can go over that once we've generated the mission. And on that note, let's get started. I'm going to cut randomly a couple of times. Let's just go there, go back here, and say, hey, that'll do as a mission type right there. And we'll do the same for a deployment type. And say, sure, let's do that one. Why not? And see what Lady Luck has in store for both of these. So, on top of the realm, if there are no platforms on the battlefield, draw a new victory condition. Well, we'll have to draw a new victory condition. So, let's just draw a random one and make sure it's fitting. The true prize. Before the battle, the defender takes 5 treasure tokens and secretly notes down which is the true prize. Then the players alternate placing the treasure tokens on the battlefield one at a time, starting with the attacker. Each of these treasure tokens must be placed on the battlefield floor or platform within 5 inches horizontally of the center of the battlefield and no more than 3 inches from all other treasure tokens. During the battle, at the start of each of the combat phase, the defender picks 1 treasure token on the battlefield or 1 piece of treasure being carried and removes it from play. The true prize cannot be picked. The battle ends after 4 rounds. When the battle ends, if one of the defenders is carrying the true prize, the defender wins, otherwise the attacker wins. And on that note, the duel. So that is what we're going to be doing. The daggers for both sides are coming in round 3. Oh, so nothing comes in round 2, but the daggers are going to be late to the show. We'll get everything set up and be back after this quick word from my channel sponsor. This video is sponsored by Noble Knight Games. Check out the video description below for an affiliate link that will take you through to their store, and it will help me out as well. Thanks. And we are back with setup done. I did forget to say when going over the sides who won the defender attacker roll off. That did not happen because of the sort of story we have going. It's a Nighthaunt tomb. It's being defended, so I hope just from that blathering at the start you were able to realise, yes, the Nighthaunts are being the defender this time, and the Iron Golems are being the attackers. So the 5 treasure tokens have been placed down at the top of each round, including the first of the 4, I forgot to say it lasts 4. One of the fake tokens gets removed, the fake treasure that isn't what the Iron Golems are looking for. So of the 5 tokens, this one's away. So one of those last 4 is the true token that will decide the victor. Neither side's dagger is on, so for the Nighthunt that means the Tomb Banshee and Spirit Host are not on, and for the Iron Golems their Dominar and Signifier unfortunately will be arriving very late. As I mentioned at the top, there's bridges using the catacombs rules, flimsy bridges on either side, and then the sturdy bridges down the bottom here. But it looks like most of the fight's going to happen in the centre anyway because of the nature of the true prize. With that said, we can jump into rolling dice for round 1. And here are the results. The Nighthaunts rolled a double 2, double 1. They have used their wild die to make a triple 2, leaving them with 2 singles. The Iron Golems have rolled a double 5, double 1, and they have opted not to use their wild die, so that gets included in their singles, meaning they will be taking first activation in round 1. It was the mighty Centurion Marshal that got the game started for the Iron Golems. He was over here, coming in from that door there. He didn't end a movement on the rickety bridge, so we don't have to check to see if he falls to his death, because that would be catastrophic. He is exceptionally fast. He moves 10 inches, which in Warcry terms on a small table is insane. He could go from one end to the other in a single turn. Not quite in the long direction, but still. So on that note, he moved 10 inches to roughly here. He overtook one of the treasure tokens, so he's picked it up. He can only hold one though, so he can't go after another one. So instead, he decided to body block a little bit by coming all the way over here and blocking this doorway with his mighty form. So they can fight through the door, but they will definitely struggle, make it impossible actually to get around him unless they go down and round over this bridge here. So he's pretty tough. He is toughness 5 with 35 wounds. It's going to be hard to get through, obviously throwing himself into the thick of it there, but we'll see how that plays out. Well, the Spirit Host down here decided to rise to the challenge, the one that was in the shield for the Nighthaunts. Spent their triple 2 on Frightful Touch, which means until the end of the fighter's activation, each melee attack made counts as a crit rather than a normal wound, and moved into the door frame so he could attack the Centurion Marshal. It's 6 attacks, it's strength 3 versus toughness 5, so he was looking for 5s and 6s. He got 2 5s, which would normally just mean 2 damage, but thanks to using the Frightful Touch, means he's actually done 6 of the 35. So not bad, could certainly have been worse. The Iron Golems have not always had the best of luck in the videos they've appeared in on this channel, which has been quite a few of them, and never has that been more true. The Ogre Breacher activated, he only moves 4 inches, so one movement action rather, an inch that way and then 2 or 3 that way. Put him so that at least part of his base is in the centre of a weakened bridge. You roll a die, and on a 1, which is what happened, the weakened bridge collapses. These flimsy wooden ones start the game weakened. It collapses and he falls into a pit of souls and is killed. He is taken down by falling into a pit of Nighthaunt ghostliness, and he is dead and gone. That is pretty catastrophic. The Grimghast Reaper down the other end of the map activated for the Nighthaunts, moving 6 inches to roughly here, well here-ish, and then 6 inches to there-ish. He's nowhere near the middle of the bridge, so you wouldn't need to roll for it, but these are reinforced bridges, so the first one you roll just makes it weakened anyway. But as I say, he's far enough across, and his base is so small that you don't need to do the check. Way up at the top of the map, the Iron Legionnaire with shield activated moved 4 inches, followed by a 4-inch move, kind of sneaking around the back corridor there to get access to the further back treasure tokens. The Knight of Shrouds activated for the Nighthaunts next, and they are nothing if not fast. He moved 6 inches. He moved, picked up the treasure token that was closest to where they were spawning in, and then moved 6, carrying it with him up there towards where that Legionnaire just finished his action, and far away from the Centurion Marshal, almost as if he wanted to covet that particular treasure jealously. This poor Chaos Dwarf, the Armator, is always late to every party thanks to his 3-inch movements. He heard a scream and then just a fizzing sound as the bridge collapsed in the next room. He runs in eventually and finds nobody there. So he did 2 movement actions, it did not get him very far. He is steadily moving towards the centre room though. And the final activation of round 1 was the other Spirit Host on the table, moved a total of 12 inches to basically the direct centre of the board, and has picked up the treasure token that was there, leaving just 1 treasure token on the table unclaimed by anyone, and that takes us to the end of the first turn of 4. So this is an all or nothing objective. You win or you lose at the end of round 4, so there's no points to recap or anything like that, but obviously it is a massive boon to the Nighthaunts that the Ogre Breacher, normally the hardest hitter for the Iron Golems, but Centurion Marshal is obviously stronger currently, but to lose the Ogre Breacher to falling off a wooden platform is pretty rough. It's definitely going to put them on the back foot, especially because reinforcements don't come in until round 3, so it's just the 3 of them on the table, and the ghosts are hiding their treasure, and that's what they need to do. So with that, let's go to the dice rolls for round 2. Here is the dice for round 2, however, the Iron Golems totally forgot they could have been using a rush, so the armator is 2 inches forwards, 1 inch extra for each movement action than where he left off from having spent one of those retroactively. Does not change what happened, it would not have given him enough distance to get to the centre, so it wouldn't have made a difference for treasure tokens, just letting you know that in advance. So, the Nighthaunts have rolled a double 6, they turned it into a triple with their wild die, they rolled a double 5, left them with 2. Iron Golems had a double 5, they've used 1 wild die to turn it into a triple, they rolled a natural double 3, and they've used their other wild die to turn a single 6 into a double 6, leaving them just the 1. So it will be the Nighthaunts going first in round 2. But first, at the top of the round, a fake treasure token needs to be removed from the table, whether it's on the floor or in someone's possession, it just gets removed. The 1 treasure token that's left on the field is removed. It was the fake treasure, or a fake treasure, I should say, surprising probably no one. The Nighthaunts activated the spirit host that is holding one of the treasure tokens in the centre of the table. He moved into combat with the armator, used their triple for frightful touch again, and sadly didn't do that great. 6 attack, strength 3 versus toughness 4, still looking for 5s and 6s. Only got a natural crit anyway, so the triple was wasted, which you never like to see. That's 3 wounds to the armator, who has 12 in total, so he's got 9 left. The big old Centurion Marshal activated first for the Iron Golems. He's got a couple of attack options. He can attack at range 3, which is pretty amazing, but that's only 3 attacks, and actually no, it's the same, it's just the damage is slightly less. Either way though, he is locked in combat, so he used his range 1 physical attack, which is 3 attacks, strength 5, with a 3-6 damage split. He did that across both attack actions, getting 1 crit and 1 hit, because it's strength 5 versus toughness 4, and then just 2 hits in the second barrage. In total, that is 15 wounds, which is pretty good. Could have definitely been better, but that's 15 wounds of the spirit host's 28. So with all those hands and such, he is definitely slashing away at the ghosts and doing a little bit of damage. The Knight of Shrouds activated and moved into combat with the Iron Legionnaire at the tippy top of the table, swinging that Sword of Stolen Hours, which sounds so cool, into him. 4 attacks at strength 4 versus toughness 5 on the bog standard Legionnaires with a shield though. So he was looking for 5s and 6s. He got a single normal wound through for 2 whole damage. It's a 2-4 split on that sword of his. But he doesn't have to have the threat of much reprisal though. Those Iron Legionnaires trade having massive toughness for not being super great at attacking. The angry, drunken armator unleashed his fury onto the spirit host in front of him. 2 sets of attack actions, 4 attacks in each, strength 4 versus toughness 4, so he was looking for 4s. First barrage had a hit and a crit, second barrage had a hit and a crit, simple as that. In total, that is 10 wounds of the spirit host's 28. The Grimghast Reaper that did make it across the sturdy bridge down here end of last turn spent their double 5 on rush, giving him 7 inches of movement per movement action, and he used that to position himself where you can see him there. He is not within an inch of the Centurion Marshal. He does have range 2 on that scythe of his though, I think. Yeah, it does, yeah. So he would be able to engage. Although the Marshal has range 3, so if he wanted to hit him, he certainly could. But it's important that he's not locked in combat. Last activation of the round for the Iron Golems, although they do have reinforcements coming on at the top of the next one at least, was that Legionnaire who the Knight of Shrouds went after. 2 sets of attack actions meant 4 in total, only strength 3, and going against toughness 4 I think. He got 1 normal hit through for a single wound of the, I think the Knight of Shrouds has 20. But either way, not exactly much to worry about as I said. So now it's over to the other spirit host to take us to the end of the round. So that of course is the spirit host that is locked in combat with the Centurion Marshal. A total of 12 dice being rolled, so just the successes, he was looking for 5 pluses, have been left. Didn't get any 5s, but managed to get a couple of 6s. So that is 6 more wounds. Those will get consolidated in a second. But that is 6 more, so 12 in total on the Centurion Marshal. He's still not really feeling it with 35 in total, but that does take us to the end of the round with reinforcements coming on at the top of turn 3. So with that, we'll go straight to the dice. Top of the penultimate round, round 3, here is how the dice shook out. The Nighthaunts rolled a double 6, double 2. They used their wild die to make a triple 6. They'll make that frightful touch work whether they want to or not, leaving 2 singles. The Iron Golems had a double 3, double 2. They have made a triple 3. Now that the signifier is on the table as well, I'll show you where the reinforcements came on in a second. I guess that does give them access to the toughness buff aura, which will be pretty effective. The Centurion Marshal has a pretty scary triple if he's allowed to move, but right now he's determined to murder ghosts. But anyway, that was also leaving them with just 2. A roll-off has occurred, and because that's what happens when it's a draw, and the Iron Golems have won it. So they are going first, but we'll go show you where the reinforcements have come on before all that. So the Iron Golem reinforcements, the Dominar and the Signifier have come on from this doorway here, and they are poised to help the Centurion Marshal. And then at the very top of the table, up there, you have what might be called a difficult situation. Pardon me. Difficult situation for the Iron Legionnaire there, because he's right in the doorway where the Nighthaunt reinforcements have come on, the Tomb Banshee and the 3rd and final Spirit Host. And they're just engaged with him because he's standing right where they have to deploy. So he's going to do great, I'm sure. Oh yeah, the other thing we have to do at the top of the round is one of the treasure tokens disappear. The one the Centurion Marshal is holding has crumpled to dust. It just falls apart in his hands while he's fighting. Which means the 2 treasure tokens left, the Knight of Shrouds is holding one, and that Spirit Host with the Armator is holding another. One of those is the real treasure token, surprising no one, but it gives them a target now, and they've still got until the end of the next round, turn rather, to get it. On that note, we can go straight to what the Iron Golems did with the first action, because it's already happened. The Signifier activated and has moved up and activated Stand Defiant with their triple. Until the end of the round, add 1 to the toughness characteristics of friendly fighters while they are within 6 of this fighter. And he has opted to stay where he is right there. So that's it. First activation for the Nighthaunts in the penultimate round was the Spirit Host that has just come onto the table from their dagger finally being allowed on. He attacked into that poor Legionnaire. He did not use their triple, so still got the triple, but that was a total of 12 dice rolled, needing 5s and 6s across all of them. 3 were successful, and they were all crits, which is 9 wounds. With the 2 he already had on him, that is enough because he has 10 wounds in total, so one more than was needed. So the Legionnaire, there we go, is out of there, freeing up the other units. The Dominar activated for the Iron Golems spent their double on Rush to get that extra inch of movement per movement action, and moved a total of 10 from where he was all the way up to engaging with the Spirit Host that may or may not have the real treasure. Almost certainly doesn't, but hey, he's trying. Well, that sure was something. The Spirit Host engaged in battle with the Centurion Marshal spent their triple on Frightful Touch, and as it turns out didn't really need to because a single 5 across 12 dice got rolled again. But hey, 6 crits got rolled. And again, this 5 counts as a crit because Frightful Touch was used. So that is 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18. That is 21 wounds right there across 2 attack actions to the Centurion Marshal. With the 12 he already had, that puts him at 33. He has 2 wounds left and is in grave danger. The difference from his toughness going to 6 as a result of the buff here did not affect what happened there because he was looking for 5s and 6s anyway, so it didn't really help him. Well, to say the Centurion Marshal is going down swinging would be an understatement. He did 2 attack actions into the Spirit Host, so a total of 6 attack, strength 5 versus toughness 4. He got all but 1 success, one of which was a crit, and that is 18 wounds on top of the 15 already dealt. More than enough that these ghosts have been scattered to the wind and murdered, or I don't know, desummoned, whatever. Either way, they are gone. So he was able to take down the ghosts, but at quite the cost. And what cost was that? Well, that cost was the Grimghast Reaper activating and attacking. His first attempt to finish off the Centurion Marshal was a complete whiff, leaving 5s and 6s, but his second set of 3 attacks got both a normal hit and a crit, which in total is 5 wounds, and he had 2 left. So the mighty Centurion Marshal has been taken down by spooky ghosts with knives and a slightly larger spooky ghost with a scythe. So unfortunately for him, that just all those crits the Spirit Host managed to get on that one attack just wrecked him. Last activation of the round already for the Iron Golems. It is not looking good for them was the Armator, and his swings into the Spirit Host were not as successful as in turn 1 when he did 10 wounds. This time his first set of 4 attacks had 0 successes, he needed 4 ups, and his second set had 2 successes but no crits, So a total of 2 extra wounds. That's the Spirit Host that he's fighting, up to 12. So now the Tomb Banshee and the Knight of Shrouds get to activate, and they're probably just going to be repositioning, so we'll just cover that together at once. And here's where they ended up. The Knight of Shrouds just kind of repositioned, almost guaranteeing that he has the real treasure. The Tomb Banshee moved down here and is blocking one of the 2 entrances into where he's decided to hide. And that takes us to the end of the penultimate round, and all forces, well, what's left of them, for the Iron Golems are left on the table, so we can just go straight through to the final round. The outcome is basically decided, but we'll fight to the bitter end and see how it turns out. Let's go to the dice. And here's the dice for the final round. Double 6 and a double 3 for the Nighthaunts, but made into a triple with their wild die. 2 singles, and then a double 3, double 5, double 1. Sounds like I just read a phone number in an ad from the 90s. For the Iron Golems, but they turned the the double 5 rather, into a triple, but the Nighthaunts are going first. There is 2 treasure tokens technically left on the table in the possession of 2 of the Nighthaunt, and it is now time to reveal which of them is the true one. And it is probably no one's surprise that the treasure token that was being held by the Spirit Host down here evaporates. It is not the true token. It was this one, which is being held by the Knight of Shrouds. I think even if the Iron Golems wanted to get up to him, they could not, let alone take out the rest of his 19 wounds, whatever he's got left. So we're just going to play out this round for fun and see if the Iron Golems even have anyone left standing by the end. One more time with feeling. The Spirit Host, who had been holding a fake treasure, activated, spent their triple 6 on Frightful Touch, and unleashed 12 attacks into the Armator, needing 5s and 6s, but thanks to using that, 5s count as crits. His first barrage of 6 resulted in 1 success, which again counts as a crit. Second though did better, with 2 normal hits and a crit, again also all counting as crits, which is a total of 12 wounds, which would have taken the Armator to dead from full health, let alone the fact he already had 3 wounds, so the poor little guy just can't catch a break, and is out of there. And I mean, it's possible the Dominar might be able to finish off the Spirit Host there. I guess we should turn and face his foe now, the one that's left at least, since I'm sure he'll be after vengeance. So I keep forgetting about those universal dice abilities, but the Iron Golems didn't, because the Dominar spent their double 1 on Onslaught, plus 1 to his attack characteristic until the end of the round. So instead of 3 attacks at strength 5, he attacked with 4 attacks at strength 5 twice, total of 8 of them, into the Spirit Host. First set of attacks, got 2 hits and 1 crit through. Second set, 3 hits and 1 crit through. All said and done, that is 20 wounds on top of the 12 it already had, and they've got 28 in total. So he was able to desummon, turn to vapor, the second of the 3 Spirit Hosts. So the Dominar did, in a manner of speaking, get revenge. And a bit of a whimper to end the game on for the Nighthaunts. The Grimghast Reaper positioned himself slightly different, so that the Signifier was within range 2. He can attack at range 2 with the scythe, so he doesn't need to engage him. Swung 3 times, or rather 3 dice, at strength 3 versus toughness 4, needing 5s and 6s, and managed not to get a single hit through of any type. So, meh. So the Signifier is the final activation of the Iron Golems for the game, and he had to move into range because he's only range 1, so that's the advantage of range 2 or better and close combat weapons. Like, as I say, the Marshal didn't really take advantage of it, but range 3 on one of his weapons is pretty insane for not counting it as a ranged weapon. Either way, Signifier, 3 attacks, strength 4 versus toughness 4, so he was looking for 4s. 2 normal hits through for a total of 4 wounds to the Grimghast Reaper, who does only have 10 in total, so almost half, but as I say, that takes him to the end of the game. Technically, the Knight of Shrouds, the Tomb Banshee, and the other Spirit Host at the top of the table should activate. They can't get close enough, really. The Tomb Banshee could use 2 movements to get into combat with the Dominar, but not actually attack him. Oh, even with Rush, yeah, that wouldn't be enough. Probably, because that would be 7 inches of movement. That would actually get her within an inch, I think, but it really doesn't matter. The game has been decided. They are not getting the treasure. The tomb has been successfully defended by the Nightaunt, and the Iron Golems are all but destroyed. So a little bit of blathering at the end of the video there. I think the Centurion Marshal picked the wrong strategy to block off this door. If he could kill super quick, then absolutely it was the right choice. Just deal with the Spirit Hosts, move back and go after something else, murder, etc. But the Spirit Hosts are actually pretty tanky, just in terms of how many wounds you've got to cut through with 28. That is a lot. So he took too long, and then the Spirit Host just getting super lucky with so many crit dice against him. It wouldn't have changed the outcome if that hadn't have happened. He would have killed the Spirit Host. He would have had enough time to maybe reach the Knight of Shrouds, but certainly not to kill him in one swing. His maximum damage payout from like a single set of attacks would be 18, which wouldn't be enough. So it wouldn't have changed anything, but yeah, using him in that manner was not the most effective, especially given that he has a 3-inch range option, which can still do up to 15 wounds if he gets crits, so it's not terrible. So yeah, he was probably a bit misused. The Ogre Breacher falling into the pit and just getting himself murdered by just not looking where he was walking, while funny, definitely did not help matters, because he would have been alongside the Armator over this flank over here. I think the Knight of Shrouds, just given how fast he is, like all the Nighthaunts are fast, would probably still have ran circles around the Iron Golems based purely on just its 4-inch of movement versus 6-inch. You know, so what can you do? You would have to have tied down the right treasure early, and you couldn't have known what it was. So even if the Ogre Breacher hadn't died in such a stupid but also funny way, it might have made a slight difference for the combat over here. Maybe the Spirit Host would have died a turn faster, maybe 2 turns faster. But you have those reinforcements coming on that can just provide meat to block doorways and keep them, safe, or keep it safe. That's worth mentioning also. This is obviously not a Catacomb specific mission type, so it was a bit of a will it work or will it won't it work. Definitely could have, I think. I feel like it could have worked. It's just the Iron Golems just got really unlucky with the dice rolls, with one of their team getting themselves murdered, with the Marshal not doing as smart a move as he could have, certainly. But I'm not sure. Only with foresight could you have sent maybe the Armator up the top as well. But either way, that was still fun, and hopefully for you as well. I hope you'll come back in the future to see more Warcry. If you have enjoyed it, please do consider showing your support by liking the video, commenting, or if you can spare it, go above and beyond by pressing the thanks button, or becoming a channel member. You get access to certain video series early, usually a week or slightly more at the moment, before everyone else, just because I had a huge backlog. So please do check that out, or you can check out the channel sponsor, of course, via the affiliate link. If you're in the US, they do carry Games Workshop products, and they ship everywhere, but they can't sell Games Workshop products outside of the US because of Games Workshop and their stupid rules. But hey, they cover basically every game I have on the channel, and you can keep want lists, and they'll tell you when something comes back in stock, if you're, especially after something like, for instance, the Metal Gear Solid board game, which is a bit hard to get now, or whatever else. Anywho, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the future for more. Until then, ta-ta for now.